Innocence, trust, betrayal. This is the horrifying true story of Sylvia Likens. A 16-year-old girl who was slowly tortured to death, not by strangers but by people she lived with, people who were supposed to protect her. Sylvia Mary Likens was born on January 3, 1949 in Lebanon, Indiana. She was the third of 5 children in a working-class family. Her parents, Lester and Betty Likens, worked as carnival workers, traveling from town to town. Sylvia was a shy, sweet girl who loved roller skating and listening to the Beatles. She looked after her younger sister Jenny, who had a limp from polio. The two girls were very close. In 1965, when Sylvia was just 16, her parents left her and Jenny in the care of someone they barely knew. Her name was Gertrude Benizwiski. Gertrude was a 37-year-old single mother of 7 children. She was thin, skinny, and barely surviving on welfare and child support. When Sylvia and Jenny were left in her care, their parents agreed to send Gertrude $20 a week. But when the payments came late, Gertrude took out her anger on Sylvia. At first, it was yelling. Then came the beatings. But that was just beginning. Gertrude did not just abuse Sylvia herself, she encouraged her children and even kids from the neighborhood to join in. Sylvia was called names. She was slapped, kicked, burned with cigarettes. Sometimes she was forced to eat her own vomit. She was accused of being filthy, a prostitute, and was blamed for the things she never did. Gertrude's own daughter, Paul, once broke her wrist from hitting Sylvia so hard that the abuse became a daily routine. No one helped, no one stopped it. As weeks passed, the torture became more sadistic. Sylvia was forbidden from going to school. She was denied food, locked in the basement, made to sleep naked on a cold concrete floor. Gertrude would force other kids to beat Sylvia as if it was a game. One of the most horrifying moments came when Gertrude headed a needle and carved the words into Sylvia's stomach, "I am a prostitute and proud of it." That scar was permanent, just like the emotional scar left on the anyone who knew what happened. In the final days of her life, Sylvia was too weak to move. Sylvia could not speak properly. She was badly dehydrated. Her body was covered in bruises, burns, and open wounds. On October 26, 1965, Sylvia Likens died on a filthy mattress in that house of hell. Cause of that, brain hemorrhage, stroke, and malnutrition. She weighed just 84 pounds. When police arrived, they described the scene as something out of a nightmare. Gertrude Benizwiski, her children, Paul and John, and several neighborhood kids were arrested. The trial shocked the nation. Witnesses testified about how Gertrude orchestrated the abuse, how kids took turns hurting Sylvia, how a community turned its back. Gertrude was sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder, but in a shocking twist, she was paroled in 1985 after serving just 20 years. She changed her name, moved to Iowa, and died in 1990, never showing real remorse. Sylvia was buried with a headstone that reads, "Our darling daughter." But behind those words lies a pain too deep to erase. This case became a symbol of systematic failure. How school, neighbors, even kids ignored the sign of abuse. In 2001, the state of Indiana dedicated a memorial park to Sylvia Likens with a plaque that reads, "This memorial is dedicated to the memory of young child who died a tragic death. Her life and legacy must never be forgotten." Sylvia Likens was not just a victim, she was a daughter, a sister, a girl with dreams. She deserved love, she deserved safety, she deserved to live. And now her story must be told, not just to remember her, but to make sure it never happens again. True crime, horror, reality, dirt, chills. Subscribe to the Haunting Files for more real stories like that will stay with you long after the screen goes dark.